Hi guys, hey, welcome to Cooking with Rose International Cuisine. Today I'm going to show you guys how to cook one of the most popular cuisines here in the South, especially in Louisiana, New Orleans area, called Shrimp Creole. It's a delicious, actually very healthy dish, like a stewed shrimp with tomatoes, basically. So we have a number of ingredients. So I'm going to show you guys the ingredients at this point. We're going to use 2 pounds of shrimp. I have 2 pounds of shrimp peeled and deveined. And then we're going to also use 1 cup of shrimp sauce, either homemade or you can buy them in a can or at the store. This is homemade shrimp sauce. 1 28-ounce of stewed tomatoes. 1 cup of diced or minced green bell pepper. 1 cup of diced or minced celery, 1 cup of diced or minced onion, 1 15-ounce of tomato sauce, and then here on this plate we have a number of seasonings, including a half stick of butter, about 4 teaspoons of minced garlic, 1 whole tablespoon of Cajun Creole seasoning, and then 3 or 4 bay leaves, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 whole tablespoon of seafood magic seasoning, and half a teaspoon of thyme. And then I'm also going to add some fresh parsley. When I chop this up, it's going to be about half a cup of chopped parsley, and then 3 stalks of green onion, and some fresh basil leaves. And then for the seasoning, I since we're here in New Orleans, Louisiana, we have a lot of Cajun seasoning. I used Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, and then I also use Chef Prudhon's Seafood Magic. Also, I'm going to put in just a dash, maybe like a teaspoon or less of what we call Zatarain's shrimp and crab boil. This is a strong seasoning, guys, so you don't need a lot. And then when your stew is about done, the shrimp creole is almost done, you can check for the consistency. And if it's too runny for your taste, then put some flour or cornstarch, a little bit of time, and go from there. So let's get started. First, let's heat up our pot. To make shrimp creole with 2 pounds of shrimp, you need a good sized pot. This is plenty. I make my gumbo also in this pot, so this is plenty to do that. So let's get that heated. While that is being heated, I'm going to go ahead and chop the green onion. These have all been pre-washed. And you just want to chop it in small pieces like that, basically dicing them. We got the green onions chopped, so now I'm going to transfer that onto a plate. Okay, next let's chop the parsley. And we will put the parsley in towards the end of our cooking. So basically this is Italian parsley. Just pluck it off the stem, and all these vegetables have been pre-washed. Just pluck it off the stem, and then just chop it however you want. I just cut them in small pieces, just mince them. And if you have a little bit of a step, that's okay. Parsley is just a garnishing, guys. And this will give you about half a cup of minced parsley. And that's all we need. Transfer that into the other plate. Okay, and then the last fresh herbs I'm going to use is the basil leaves. You don't need a lot, just a few. They're pretty strong. It's a very strong herb. I'm just going to mince them. You can smell it already. So all I have is maybe about 5 or 6 leaves, about half a dozen, and that's what we're looking at. Okay, and we're done with that. This goes in the trash, and then we can start cooking. I'm going to heat the pot to about medium heat. Once it's heated, then I'm going to, first thing is to put the butter in and let the butter melt, and then we're going to start sauteing our vegetables, and then we'll start cooking the stew. All right, guys, now that the pot is heated, I'm going to drop that half a stick of butter. Oh, you hear that sound? It sounds awesome. And that's going to melt in no time. I'm going to stir it around a little bit, let it melt. Basically, cooking stew is just like a one-pot event. It's not difficult. It just takes a little bit more ingredients, but the end result is awesome. Okay, we're ready to saute. We'll start with the onions first. You hear that sound? That sounds awesome. And then we're going to add the celery. And the green bell pepper, which was the green bell pepper first, celery. Doesn't really matter which order, guys. And give them a stir. I'm going to add the garlic, which is about 4 teaspoons minced. Let's have all these vegetables saute for about, I would say, 2-3 minutes. Doesn't have to be long. And then we're going to add other ingredients. And put the lid on it. Help it cook a little faster. At this point, let's add all the seasoning, and you just can put all of them in, including the bay leaves. Put them in, except for these 3, okay? Stir. One precaution for making this kind of dish, guys, is don't add salt too soon. Don't do it until towards the very end. Most of these seasonings are pretty salty. Shrimp is salty itself, and so don't add salt unless you have to. So I'm not adding any salt until the very end when the dish is done. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and add my tomato sauce, which is about 15 ounces. And then the homemade shrimp stock. Give it a stir. Smells wonderful. And then just a dash of the shrimp and crab boil mix. This is a very potent, strong seasoning. So a dash would be like half a teaspoon or 1 teaspoon. And that's it. That will enhance the flavor. I'm going to let this boil for, actually, I'm going to let it simmer. Now that it's boiling, it is boiling. Smells good. I'm going to let it simmer, lower the heat for about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we'll come back. We'll put in the stewed tomato, the shrimp, let it simmer again for about 6-7 minutes, and then add all our garnishings, and we're done. That's how simple it is to make shrimp Creole. So we'll be back. Okay, it's been 10 minutes, so let's check this out. Oh, that smells wonderful, the aroma. I wish you guys could smell this. So let's give it a little stir. Our stew is looking good already. Next, from here, I'm going to add the stewed tomatoes. And then what I did earlier, y'all, is I actually drained the stewed tomatoes just in case sometimes it can get a little runny. So it's better to have it drained first, put the stewed tomatoes in, and add, at this point, your green onions and basil leaves. Give it a stir. I'm going to go ahead and add the shrimp, 2 whole pounds. Stir it in. That looks so good. As far as consistency, if you like your stew a little bit runnier, that's fine. If you like it a little thicker, that's why you want to have flour or cornstarch ready. It's up to you. But that stewed tomatoes will actually make it a little thinner in a minute. So we are going to, at this point, looking at everything, I'm going to go ahead and add the juice that came with it. Put it in. I'm going to put the lid back on, and this is going to cook for about 7-8 minutes. You don't need to cook it very long, because shrimp does not take that long. I'm going to heat up the fire, let it boil, and then bring it to simmer in about 6-7 minutes, and then we're going to check and see. That looks delicious. Okay. All right, guys, it's been about 7 minutes. Let's take a look. It looks delicious. I'm just going to pour in the parsley. Stir that a little bit. And by looking at this pot, the consistency is just perfect. This is done, so I'm going to turn off the heat. I'm going to transfer this to this bowl. I'm going to serve it up. Oh, look at that. Doesn't that look awesome? Shrimp Creole. Hey guys, the shrimp Creole is done. We typically eat this with either French bread or any kind of bread. I baked a couple earlier today, and also I cooked some rice earlier today. They are so delicious together. Shrimp Creole is such a wonderful meal. And now I'm going to taste it because this looks so good. I have to taste it. Perfect, perfect. So until then, peace and love, and I'll see you soon.